Hi, welcome to the Meeting of Minds podcast. I'm Philippa. This is going to be the last solo episode for 2022. I've been waiting for a good time to record this episode because I've had quite a bad cold for the last 2 weeks, and I've sounded really bunged up and my energy has been low. And yes, I could have come on and recorded feeling like that, but actually I didn't want to. I wanted to come when I'm feeling better. See, I've got a cold sore there, just getting better. I've got another one on my lip, but actually, I'm starting to come out of it now, and it feels like it's the beginning of December, so it feels like a good time to come and record this last solo episode. The holiday season is upon us. I did a sort of, my take on the holiday season last year, and I thought I'd do the same again this year, but also there was a few things I wanted to share with you as well. And as this is a solo episode, the last one of the year, this seemed like a good time. So first of all, this year has been quite a big year for the podcast. This is the second whole year I've been going, and I just got my Spotify Unwrapped. I don't know if you get those. I listen to all my podcasts on, not mine, all the podcasts that I listen to, which does include mine, I listen to on Spotify. And I publish the podcast through Anchor, which is owned by Spotify. Also, I do know that some of you listen on different apps. Some of you are watching on YouTube as well. So this is only the stats that I've had through Spotify, but I got my Unwrapped yesterday, and oh my goodness, I was absolutely blown away by what it told me. And one thing, right, so these are just a few stats, and as you're here listening, I hope you're interested. I'll be quick, but it's like, apparently Spotify Unwrapped is telling me that my Meeting of Minds podcast is in the top 10% most shared globally podcast. How did that happen? It's listened to in 11 countries. It's been listened to in 11 countries this year. The top 5 are the UK, the States, Ireland, Canada, and Italy. I know some of you. So I do know some of you who are listening in Italy, and a big shout out to you and thank you. Also, the people in Canada. I'm not too sure who's listening in Ireland, but a big hello to you. Almost a third of the people who listen to this podcast are in the States. So thank you and hello. And thank you for being here and listening to, what started off as my little passion project podcast. But, it's growing and it's amazing. And also all to you lovely people in the UK who listen. I'm so grateful. I do this for me as much as I do it for you listeners. That's honest, I do. But actually, whether I would have kept going if people weren't listening, I don't know. Or if I didn't know that people were listening, the things that you've shared with me, I love getting messages from you. You can either contact me by email or on Instagram, and all those details are in the show notes. But please get in touch. I love hearing from you, what you're getting from the podcast, maybe what you'd like to hear more of. And yeah, just, thank you. One of the other stats is that it's in the top 25 most followed podcasts, and 80% of people who listen to this podcast discovered it this year, 2022. And if I almost didn't keep going, but my intuition was telling me to keep going, and I have done. And, those stats do make me really smile. Hopefully you can hear it in my voice. If you're listening and if you're watching, you can see that it really makes me smile. And, it's just really given me the impetus to keep going. I mean, I love doing this anyway. It does take some time and some organizing, but I love it. And I really cannot thank you enough for listening and being a part of this with me. You are a very big part. All you listeners are a very big part of this. And I really, really appreciate that you have me in your ears and on your screens, and you choose to spend some time with me and hearing what I have to say, and the amazing people that have guested during the 2 years I've been going. But in particular, I feel like some of the guests this year have been just incredible. So thank you. The other thing I want to share with you is that next year we're having a little break over the Christmas period, and then when we come back next year, we're going to be doing a mini series. It's going to be called the HSP Connection with Philippa and Robbie. Robbie Leigh, who was a guest episode, or should I look this up, 84, I think, mid-80s. She came on and we were talking about our HSP journeys, and we've decided to do a mini series together. We're going to be recording some in December, ready for release in January, and at least 6 episodes. We might go a few more. We've got plenty to talk about. And we will be concentrating on sensory processing sensitivity, otherwise known as HSP, highly sensitive person, high sensory. Those are all the different terms that people do use to refer to people like me and Robbie and lots of you people, lovely people who are listening. I know you're HSPs too. What that means for us in everyday life, and mainly we're going to be focusing on the gift that it brings to our life. So that's coming in the new year. I'm really excited about that, and we'll see how that unfolds. If you have any questions for Robbie and I, please do send them in. Please, all the ways to contact me are in the show notes. Just get in touch and let me know any questions that you have, and we will do our best to answer them. So that's what's coming. It's still going to be called A Meeting of Minds, but it's going to be, the subtitle for the beginning of the year is going to be the HSP Connection with Philippa and Robbie. So great. I'm really looking forward to that. So on to, also this year generally, there's been some cracking episodes, haven't there? 3 of the most popular episodes. One in January with Josh. COA is a Thing with Josh. Another one that's been really popular is COAs Are Superheroes with Martin. And another popular one was the one I did with Robbie. There have been others as well, but those are the 3 most popular so far this year. And a big shout out to all the COAs who listen to this podcast. As you know, I'm a child of an alcoholic too, an adult child of an alcoholic. And I really love that you are getting something from listening to these podcast episodes. If any of you out there would like to be a guest and come and talk about your experience, please get in touch. I would love to hear from you. And also, I have found that the things that I have learned to help my nervous system as a result of the trauma I experienced in childhood really helped me as an HSP as well. So everything that we're going to be talking about, Robbie and I are going to be talking about in the HSP episodes, applies to everybody. It's just we're going to put our HSP slant on it. But all of the things we're going to be talking about apply to everybody. So I hope you will get something out of it. I've loved having guests this year. I've also really enjoyed doing more solo episodes, so it's been a good mix for me. Do you have a preference? Let me know if you feel drawn to tell me. And maybe a mix is good. I did try some shorter, the solo ones were shorter episodes. The interviews have got more towards an hour because I just don't think you can have a proper deep conversation in 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes even. I really feel the longer episode is needed. I hope you agree. You're here listening, so yeah, I hope you agree. This is not going to be 30, 40 minutes. I'm going to try and I will keep this shorter. So yeah, it's been a year of real growth in the podcast, I think. Growth in me, and what I'm bringing to the podcast and how I'm approaching it. Growth generally in people sharing it, listening. So yeah, please carry on sharing it. Get the words that I'm trying to share with the world out to more people. Please do. Please subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. All depending on what platform you're watching on, there's either a subscribe or a follow button. There is also a rating. Most apps you can rate, so you could give me a 1 to 5 star rating. I hope you would feel able to give me a 5 star. That would be amazing, because it does help other people find it when they're searching for podcasts to listen to. Also on Apple, you can leave a review. You can leave comments on YouTube, obviously, as well. So yeah, anything you can do to give me feedback with ratings, reviews, emails, anything you can do to help get the word out for the podcast, I will be really, really grateful. I would, I'm not looking for massive growth next year. Some growth would be nice, but, equally, I'm going to carry on doing it anyway. I'm so excited about next year. Don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be great. So thank you. The main point is thank you for being with me on this podcast journey that I've been on this year, and into year 3 next year. And let's see what happens. Please come with me on the rest of this journey. So let's get on with the real subject. Well, not the real subject, but the topic that I want to talk about in today's episode, and it's about the holidays. No, obviously in America you already had Thanksgiving, and now it's just a run into Christmas, same as it is in here. I know not all of you listening will be celebrating Christmas, so maybe this is not so relevant to you, but also it is relevant around any time of a big family gathering, a time when there are expectations that you will perhaps be with certain people, be in a certain place, behave a certain way. So, I think this could be useful for all those situations. I am talking to, if you're my people, I think my people are mainly children of alcoholics, HSPs, and creatives. Those are the 3 things I would use to describe me. They have been the subject of one of the podcast series this year. And yeah, those are, I'm thinking that you may well fit into one of those 3 groups. You might fit into all 3, like I do. You might not fit into any of them, but just like listening to the podcast. That's cool. You're very welcome here, of course. So I'm going to talk about the holidays generally, and then I might just talk very quickly about those 3 groups of people and how, just a few little tips and tricks, and not tricks, but, just give you a few ideas for the holiday season that's coming. So a lot of people get very excited about Christmas and love it and have many happy childhood memories of Christmas. That too can come with pressure as we become adults and we feel the pressure to recreate the Christmases of our past, if they have been really, happy, beautiful experiences. And I think pressure is the word generally that kind of comes up, but certainly for me, and I know for a lot of other people, around the holidays. It feels like there's a lot of pressure to be a certain way. A lot of us have to spend time with our family when we might not want to. There are all manner of reasons why this holiday season is not always a happy one. And I just want to acknowledge those people who don't look forward to Christmas for all manner of reasons. And I really want to shout out to people who've lost somebody this year. and it will be their first Christmas without them. That is really hard. And I really want to acknowledge you. And I see you. And, my thoughts are with you this Christmas or this holiday season. And for many of us, it might be repeating a pattern of many Christmas past where we have, either spent Christmas with an alcoholic parent or, an alcoholic member of the family that just makes things very hard. You might be one of those, you might be an alcoholic, I guess, who dreads it because you're not going to get through it, without, I don't know, without behaviours that perhaps you might look back on and wish had been different. I don't know, I cannot actually, perhaps that was a mistake to jump into that place of actually being the person who drinks too much, because I don't actually, I can't empathise with that as well as I can empathise with other situations that I've actually been in. I can imagine the torment and the other conflicting feelings that will come up. And I just want anybody, all of you, to know that my compassion is with you all for whatever this holiday season will bring. And HSPs, you may well find that the holiday season is very overwhelming. Too many people, too much noise, too much peopling that is expected of you. And how on earth can you get out of it, really? And it's not because you don't want to see those people. You might really, really want to see those people, but just know that it's too much. I really want to acknowledge that happens for us a lot. And also creatives. I think when we are forced out of our natural habitat, maybe we, have set our life up so that we have plenty of time for creative time. And then all of a sudden over the holiday period, it just goes because it's filled up with lots of other things, things that are expected of us. And I think that can be hard because often the way that we use our creativity can well be an outlet for our feelings, our emotions. And without having that outlet, it can be quite a pressure. So, I just want to acknowledge that everyone has their own experience of Christmas time, of the holiday season, and we will all approach it in a very different way. And however you approach it is totally fine. There is no right or wrong way to do this time of year, despite what some people might tell you. It's your life. It's your holiday season. In an ideal world, we'd get to do it exactly the way we want to do it. But I also understand that we don't always feel like we can do that. So I wanted to, first of all, acknowledge this time can be very hard for some people. And I'm sending you all my love and compassion. Also, I wanted to bring a few ideas that you might find useful. So I think all these ideas apply to all of you. And how can you bring into the holiday season a bit of you, a bit of what you want, a bit of what you need, and a bit of something different, perhaps, so that you can experience a different sort of festive period. Because, if you follow me, you'll have heard me say a lot, it's all information. So how can you gather some more information this year to see if there is a different way of being around this time of year, or a different way of doing things that can enable you to be in a different way? So, most of these are not going to be a surprise to you because I've talked about them before, but I just want to give you a reminder. And the main driver behind these things are to bring you back to you, because when when we are thrust into the festive season where, you know, we can absolutely be thrust back into patterns of behaviour from the past, especially if we go back to family. Always, the minute we walk through the door, we turn back into the teenager or the 7-year-old or the 21-year. You know, we instantly can turn back into those people, no matter how old we are. So, you know, how can you work with understanding that is what is happening, but also bringing some bit of you back into it, you as you are now, you as you want to be. How can you bring that back? And it might be that you have to take yourself sort of away, maybe into a bedroom or into another room, or maybe out for a walk, but maybe just sort of, you know, get some you time if you can to work on some of these things. And they're mostly about bringing you back into your body, out of your head, out of your thinking mind, out of the loop of thoughts that can go round and round in our heads, and actually back into our body, where we feel where we are now, where we are in the moment, because then we can concentrate on the experience in the moment and not have that driven by the thoughts in our head. So it's going to come, they're in no particular order. So let's talk about walking. Can you find an opportunity to take yourself out for a little walk? Even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just round the garden, even if it's, you know, even if it's just taking the bins out, can you find an opportunity to do something by yourself and get yourself outside? Because you're changing the temperature, you're changing the environment, you're changing you're changing the way everything feels around you by taking yourself outside. Yes, it'll be a bit colder, so your body will start feeling different things. And while you're out there, even if you're only very quickly taking the bins out or something like that, or walking the dog around the block, or I don't know, pushing a child on a bike around the block or something, just to get a little bit of a breather, try and take some really deep, intentional breaths. Really deep in and right down. Breathe in and then right down into your belly, almost so that you're pushing your belly out. Right in, breathe into your back, into your belly, and breathe really deep. And then hold it for a couple of counts, and then exhale really slowly. Now, when I tried to do this, I really struggled. I really struggled to get deep, and I really struggled to control the exhale so that I could lengthen it. But in time, with practice, it did come. And even now, especially if my breath has gone really fast and shallow, it takes a good 2 or 3 breaths for me to be able to control it more. So stick with it. Really stick with it. And this can make such a big difference. And you can do this anytime. Even if you can't take yourself inside, you could take yourself to the toilet or do the washing up or something to take you away from the merriment, the mayhem, whatever, to just give you a moment to come back to yourself and just take 3 or 4 really deep inhales right down into your belly and your back. Hold it for a couple of counts, and then try and make sure your exhale is longer than your inhale. So I tend to breathe in for 4, hold for 2, out for 7. That really works for me, but it does take a bit of practice. So you will hear this in the middle of in the middle of December. So you've got a week or so to practice before Christmas is actually upon us, or the festive season is upon us. So maybe try and practice it, because it does make such a difference. It really does. So give that a go. Obviously, if you've got a longer time to be out, and pick very carefully if you go out with somebody, you know, try and get some space by yourself if you can, just even if it's just 10, 15, 20 minutes. Try and do that, especially if you're staying with a big group of people and it's all getting a bit overwhelming. Try and get out by yourself. Try and get into nature if you can, even if it's round the if you're not near anywhere, or you haven't got access to a car to get somewhere, you don't have the time, just walking around the block will do. Maybe walking around the local park. If you can get a bit further afield, all the better. But try and get out into as much of nature as you can get. So as far into nature as you can get. And feel your feet as you're walking. Notice your feet walking on the ground. Notice your breath. Tune into the sounds. Tune into the smells. What can you see? Look at the leaves falling on the ground. Although maybe by the time the festive season comes, all the leaves will have gone. But tune into what is going on around you. Be present on that walk as much as you can. And if you find that your attention has gone back in your head, and you're thinking, just really try and break that pattern and go, okay, no, this is not time for thinking. This is time for being. And really try and bring yourself back into your body and notice what is going on around you. Because if you've been listening to me lately, that's where those moments of joy will be. You will see a bird in the tree. You will catch a falling leaf. You will... somebody got in touch with me, a friend of mine actually, who I didn't know had been listening to as many episodes as they had, got in touch with me last week and told me that they'd been out on a dog walk. They didn't want to go. They went out. It was raining and everything. And there were some ducks having a little, having a splash around in a puddle. And they thought, oh yeah, there's the joy. So, joy is around us everywhere, if we can just be present enough to notice it. And it's those moments of joy that give us resilience to get through the harder times. So especially if you are needing a little break from the festivities, try and take yourself outside, do some breathing, and really notice what's going on around you, because you will find some moments of joy there. So actually what I've done is combine a few things there. I've combined the going out in nature, breath work, being present. So other things that can help us get into our body and just bring us back to the moment. Dancing. I mean, it doesn't have to, just put on a tune that really lights you up and just have a little dance around the kitchen or your bedroom or whatever it is. If you don't want to dance, you can just shake. I get a lot of energy in my hands and I do a lot of shaking my hands, because I find that really helps doing it now. And it's sort of, I don't know, it just starts to waken my body up and make me feel alive. And now I've stopped, I've got real tingling everywhere. And it's something as simple as that can really shift the energy. So especially if you're starting to feel a bit like, oh, this is really hard work and gosh, I don't know if I can do this. And that's, that sort of energy is coming in. Really try and just have a good shake and sort of move your body around. That can really help. So dancing and listening to music. You might not want to do the dancing or the shaking. Maybe just listening to music. Music can really help change our mood. Maybe have a playlist. Put together a playlist for the festive period that is songs that light you up and maybe take you into a memory from a really great time that you've had, but just can shift that mood. That really helps. Yoga is like so good for getting us in our body. I don't necessarily suggest you start just to get you through the holiday period, but I suppose you could start very gently. Why not? But just remember that yoga is there as a tool to use to get you back in your body, should you want to give that a go. And there's loads of free yoga on YouTube. You don't really just need some comfy clothes. I mean, a mat helps because it helps you stop slipping, but you can use a towel. You could do there's chair yoga, there's wall yoga. There is, really gentle stuff. When I had a really bad neck, I was just doing head and neck and shoulder yoga. And I didn't even, I could just do it sitting on the floor wearing whatever I was wearing. But anything that is going to make you concentrate on your breath, but also moving your body, whichever bit of your body feels comfortable to be moving. So yeah, that's another thing. My son has a weighted blanket. I don't know if you've heard of weighted blankets. So they are blankets, but they're weighted. They're heavy. They've got, it depends. They're weighted with all sorts of different things. You can buy lots of different versions of it. But a weighted blanket is really quite heavy. His is 9 kilograms, and he absolutely loves it. Is that right? 9 kilograms? Yeah, I think it's that heavy. Yeah, it was the weight of a dumbbell, a kettlebell I used to have. Yeah, it's 9 kilograms. And, it gives him a real feeling of safety. And it doesn't work for everybody. Some people don't like feeling weighed down. To feel weighed down might trigger some trauma response. So it's not going to be for everybody. But it's certainly worth giving a go. It's really good for anxiety, really good for... He finds it's quite good to help him get to sleep. He does tend to have a lot of racing thoughts. Doesn't always work, but that is definitely something to look into if it's something that sounds like, you might be interested. And for creatives, I would like to say, try and make time, even if just a little bit of time, to do whatever it is that you love to do. And if you can't do whatever it is that you love to do because you don't have the equipment with you, or there's just not enough time, can you find something else that is creative, that will satisfy that need, even if it's not the thing that you normally do? So maybe it could be during this time that you start journaling. I've really got back into writing poetry. I keep getting the urge to write poems again, and that really lights me up. I do like journaling. I know some people are worried about writing their thoughts down and in a place that somewhere might look. So just, maybe have somewhere special for you to put your notes, as in your journal, and keep it somewhere safe. Don't just leave it hanging around. Cooking. A lot of people can find creativity in cooking, and there's usually a lot of cooking that goes on around the festive period. Drawing, doodling, painting, that can be a bit more of a task sometimes to get all the paints out. I mean, I don't know, I'm not really a painter. What do I love doing? Writing. So I mainly love writing. I think it's perhaps a bit hard to get your potter's wheel out, maybe. I don't know. Last year, I was bought a candle making kit. I mean, it didn't take very long to make the candles, but that was quite nice. Gosh, there's all sorts of things you can make, aren't there? Hobbycraft, the shop here in the UK that sells loads of hobby stuff. There's a whole wealth of things that you can make in there. And it's completely okay to buy all these kits and to, provided you've got the money, obviously. And I do appreciate that times are quite tough at the moment. But, if can you find a way of using things maybe you've already got at home, but just doing it for the sake of it? What I'm thinking of now is papier-mâché that we used to, it's like get a balloon and put strips of paper over. And I think, do you glue them in between and then you wait for it to dry? I mean, I'm not suggesting you all stop doing that, but I don't know. I mean, why not? I don't know. I remember one year when my kids were little, I bought some bells and got some egg boxes, and we painted the egg boxes, covered them in glitter and hung bells on them. It was in the day that I was trying to be, oh, look at me, aren't I a great mum doing Christmas decorations with the kids? Oh my God. I mean, it was a really lovely idea, but I got so stressed because there was glitter and paint everywhere. I think I was doing it with a 2 and a 4-year-old. It was everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And I did end up shouting, and it sort of defeated the object a little bit, but I do still chuckle looking back at that. So we already had the paint. I think I did buy the bells. Maybe we already had the glitter. We certainly had the egg boxes. But can you find something to just make or do or explore just for the sake of it? Not because you're going to create anything that you're going to put up on the wall or give to somebody, just for the sake of it. Give it a go. So it's really about finding things that are for you to bring that time into the festive period, rather than feeling like you are doing everything that everybody else wants you to do, or you feel like you have to do, or you feel like you should do. Can you find those few moments for yourself? Because I think that will make the festive period easier. And easier for everybody. If we all did a little bit of that, wouldn't the festive period be better for everybody? I don't know, that's what I think, but I don't have a massive family and, I don't know, but that's my take on it. So that's what I wanted to bring you today. I thank you for being here. I hope you might have found some of those useful. Just bear them in mind, because, you are important. You really are. And we all are. So it's really important that you get something that you need and want out of this festive period. And that may well be just a little bit of time by yourself to do something that you really want to do. And that is completely okay. And if people think that that is not okay, then maybe that's because they really want to do it too, but don't feel they can. So they make you feel like you can't. And by you doing it, you're showing everybody else that it's okay. Yeah, so I'm going to leave you with that. Just thanks again for being here, being part of this podcast journey with me. It's just been an amazing year. There are the last episode of the year is going to be with my great friend Pippa, where we're going to be having a celebration of the year. So join us for that one. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what date that's going to be, but join us for that one. And see you back here in the new year for the HSP Connection with Philippa and Robbie. So excited. Okay, take care. Sending you lots of love for this period, this festive period, Christmas, the holidays, whatever you call it. And do something for yourself. And remember, self-love, self-compassion, and find your joy. Okay, take care. See you in 2023. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Meeting of Minds podcast. You can find this podcast in all the usual places. Please tell your friends. Please subscribe. And if you have a moment, I'd be really grateful if you could rate and review, as it helps other people find us and helps me spread the messages of empowerment and positivity that I'm really passionate about. If you want to find out more about me, you can visit my website, www.safeandsupported.co.uk. Until next time, bye.